Yo, welcome to the channel. In this video today, we're going to be going over the Stamina Sorcerer for Markarth. Um, I like the Sorcerer. I'm not very good with the Sorcerer, but I do like the Sorcerer. So just keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Maximum health is 17.6, max stamina is 28.7, stamina recovery is 1.6 unbuffed, weapon damage unbuffed is 3.2, weapon critical is at 50%. Um, Keep in mind, I'm a Khajiit. I have a little bit extra into health, but honestly, I have 6 points into health, 58 into stamina. 16.5 to 17.5 is where you really want to be. Um, I'll probably change this later on, but I'll probably get this down to about 16.8 or so, and then put the rest of the points into stamina. Food that we're running is Dubious Camoran, and the boon that we're running is the Shadow. Now, buffed, if you want to see the resistances too. Uh, Stamina recovery is 2k, weapon damage is 3.8 without a weapon damage proc. Our resistances are even across the board at 20.7, so there you go. I think fully buffed, we're right around 4.75k in a dungeon. Maybe a little more than 5k. So, it's pretty nice. Champion points: 23 Warlord, 18 Sprinter, 13 into Bashing Focus, 64 Tenacity, 64 Mooncalf, 37 Shadow Ward, 51 Tumbling. Now in the green tree, Tenacity and Mooncalf are your main two. Mooncalf for more recovery, and Tenacity to get back more resources when you heavy attack. Just whichever one you want. If you want a more natural increase in your stamina, where you get more back per tick, then Mooncalf. If you want more back when you heavy attack, Tenacity. Whichever one. After that, you had options. If you want to, you can go with reduce cost to break free and sprint and bashing focus if that's what you want. Reduce the cost to bash, which these are nice to have. Or you can go throw some points into the reduced cost to block, reduce cost to roll dodge, or even sneak if you sneak around a lot for the treasure hunter passive here. This increases that quality of items you find in treasure chests. So if it's overland, dungeons, trials, whatever, dolmens, you have a better chance of getting better quality items out of these. So if you pop a dolmen, if you're farming for sets to sell, this is really nice to have, because if you hit that dolmen and you're looking for that Mother Sorrow ring to sell, it sells for like 20k plus, then you would want a better chance at getting epic than superior, and with treasure hunter here, it increases the odds of you getting that epic ring, or necklace. So you can just go whichever one you want, but Tenacity and Mooncalf being your main two. Now in the red tree, we have 37 Ironclad, 41 Spell Shield, 41 Medium Armor Focus, 64 Hardy, 64 Elemental Defender, and 23 Quick Recovery. Now, Hardy and Elemental Defender are your main two, followed by Ironclad. Once you get Ironclad to at least 28, you can start to focus on Spell Shield, Medium Armor Focus, or if you feel like you need more healing. You can really do whichever way you want. But Hardy and Elemental Defender would be the first two I would focus on leveling up, and then go into Ironclad. Or take Ironclad to 28 once these are about halfway there. Once they're at a good percentage, closest to the whole number, going over, then, take Ironclad to 28. Now, blue tree, we have nothing here. 25 into Physical Weapon Expert, 51 Master at Arms, 51 Thermometer, 61 Precise Strike, 18 Piercing, and 64 Mighty. Precise Strike and Mighty are your main two, followed by Master at Arms and Thermometer, and then into Physical Weapon Expert and Piercing. So, this is the champion points. Sets. The first 5-piece set that we're rocking is Deadly. This is a PvP set. You get it from, I do believe you get it from one of those places in Cyrodiil. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it is. I think it's the one down here, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, though. But you do get it from one of those in Cyrodiil, or you can buy it from traders. This can cost quite a bit, but it's worth it. Deadly, what this does, it gives us weapon damage, weapon critical, weapon damage, and then increase the damage of your physical, bleed, poison, and disease damage over time, and channeled abilities do by 20%. You can really run deadly on any character. You know, physical, bleed, poison, and disease, that works. That's pretty much on a lot of them, and even the channeled ability can work really well on the Stamina Templar. Um, DKs with the poison and disease, Night Blades with, or DKs with poison, Night Blades with disease. Physical, a lot of the sorcerer's abilities are physical, so this works really well. We're running an axe with Nern with a poison damage enchant, and an infused with absorb stamina enchant on the offhand. Nern, these traits can be either way. It's up to you, as long as you make sure Nern is in your main hand. And then for our jewelry, we have deadly rings. We do have these golded out. Epic doesn't make that much of a difference because of the fact that the 20% is pretty much static. So even if it's epic, it's still going to be 20%. So the only thing that's going to change is the values of 2, 3, and 4. So I think weapon damage goes to like 124, I think, at purple. So um, we're running 3 Bloodthirsty. Now, at the time when I got these, Deadly was only coming in healthy. So now that it is a stamina set, now it comes in robust. Or at least I only found it in healthy. I may be wrong on that. It's been a while. But I went ahead and transmuted these to Bloodthirsty. You can go 1 infused, 2 Bloodthirsty if you want, or all 3 Bloodthirsty. Doesn't really matter. Or you can just leave them now as robust, to be honest with you. That's a better trait than healthy. So, back bar, we have a Maelstrom Bow infused with a weapon damage enchant. What this does, this comes from normal Maelstrom Arena, and this increases the damage volley deals by 430 each tick. This bonus increases by 143 every time volley ticks, up to a maximum 8 times. This comes from, like I said, normal Maelstrom Arena. It's very easy to get. Just get in there. It may take you a few runs, but normal Maelstrom Arena is very easy. Don't be scared about it. Just get in there and farm it. So now the monster set that we're running is Stormfist. This comes from Tempest Island. We're running a Heavy Divines with max stamina and a medium shoulder Divines with max stamina. Now, I like Stormfist on Stam Sorcerer. I just do. It gives us stam recovery, and when we deal damage, you have a 10% chance to create a Thunder Fist to crush the enemy, dealing 1.9k shock damage every 1 second for 3 seconds to all enemies within 4 meters, and a final 11.1k physical damage when the fist closes. This effect can occur once every 8 seconds. Now, Celine's is probably the better set. Celine's comes from Celine's Web, and basically what it does is that, let's go down here to it. We get max stamina when we do melee damage. You have a 15% chance to call a Primal Spirit that mauls the closest enemy in front of you after 1.3 seconds for 17.5k physical damage. This effect can occur once every 4 seconds. Honestly, that right there is probably the harder hitting monster set over Stormfist. But I like Stormfist on Stam Sorcerer. I've been using it for years, and I keep using it. But honestly, Celine's is probably better. If you're starting out, if you don't have Celine's, if you can't finish Celine's Web or Tempest Island, of course, at 160, you always have Crags. This comes from Fungal Grotto 1. It gives you physical penetration, and when you do damage, you have a 10% chance to spawn Drag Limbs that create shockwaves in front of you, dealing 1.7k physical damage every 0.4 seconds for 1.2 seconds. This effect can occur once every 3 seconds. So, Crags, Celine's Web, or Tempest Island with Stormfist. You can't go wrong with either one of those sets. So, now, the second 5-piece set that we're running is Zovgan's Warband. This comes from Frostfall. Basically, this gives us weapon critical, physical penetration, and when you deal critical damage, you gain a stack of precision, increasing your weapon critical by 129 for 5 seconds, up to 10 stacks. At max stats, you also gain minor force, increasing your critical damage done by 10%. This effect can occur once every half second. So basically, once we get the stacks built up, we will have minor force all the time. We're running it all on the body, all divines. Now, you can get deadly body and run warbands on the weapons, because the 10 seconds is quite a bit, and it should not drop off while you're on your back bar. So, Warband, if you don't want to go through Frostvault though, you can always go with Griffins. This comes from Somerset, and it basically does the same thing, except it gives us a little extra weapon damage instead of penetration, but our crit will be lower. This gives as this builds, this just gives us minor force when we deal direct damage. Of course, we increase our movement speed by 15%, but this will give us more crit as we go up as well. So this is the better version of Griffins, but Griffins is extremely cheap, and you can buy that on the traders or farm it in Somerset until you get Zovgans. If you even want to get Zovgans. I mean, it's up to you. With Deadly, you can always replace this set with Briarheart or New Moon. It's up to you. So, but any of this works. Now, I do want to point out Ravager here. This is a nice set that I've tried using a little bit. It doesn't necessarily, maybe it's just because I don't feel as comfortable with the main spammable for this, but I'll get to that in a second. But what this does is that every time, this gives us weapon critical, max health, weapon damage, and each time you attempt to reduce the target's physical or spell resistance, you gain a stack of Ravager for 5 seconds, increasing your weapon damage by 146. You can gain a stack every 1 second. If 4 stacks, the duration doubles but cannot be refreshed. So Ravager is a really nice set to have too. It is a heavy armor set, so you will need to use that on the weapons and the jewelry. But do keep in mind, Ravager, I don't know if they've given it one, but for the longest, now that they've changed how that set, since they changed it to reduce the physical resistances and stuff, you get the proc on it. I don't know if they put a bow in the game. It used to used to only go off with melee damage. You had like an 8% chance to proc it. There was no bow in the game for this set. So a lot of people were looking for one. A lot of people spent a lot of AP on it. But they don't make bows for that set. So do bear that in mind if you go looking for that set. Now this is where Ravager and Deadly can be interchanged is from the spammable here. I'm using Rapid Strikes because I just like it. You flood an enemy with steel battering them for 5 consecutive attacks that each deal 1.5k physical damage. Each hit increases the damage of the subsequent the sub hit by 3%. The final hit deals 300% more damage. This is our main spammable, and this is the one that we're using the most. Now, if you wanted to, you could use crystal weapons. This is the crystal shard morph, the frag morph, crystal frags, whatever you want to call it. This is the new morph, and they made it for stamina. They did it in Greymore. And it encases your weapon in dark crystals for 4 seconds, causing your next light or heavy attack to deal an additional 8.8k physical damage, and reducing the target's armor by 1,000 for 5 seconds. After casting, your next non-ultimate ability used within 3 seconds costs 10% less. Now, because this tries to reduce the enemy's armor, this procs Ravager. And it is basically a LE weapon for the Sorcerer. That's it. And then you light attack. That's really all there is to it. I don't know why. Maybe it's just, it feels like it's a longer drawback, a longer wind-up than LE weapon. It just feels a little off to me. But there's nothing wrong with it. You can definitely use that as your spammable as well. Rapid Strikes. You flood an enemy with steel battering them with 5 consecutive attacks that each deal 1.5k. Oh wait, I'm reading Rapid Strikes. Ooh, my bad. Reading Slashes. Slice an enemy with both weapons to cause deep lacerations, dealing 2.7k physical damage with each weapon and cause them to bleed for an additional 10.1k physical damage over 10 seconds. You also reduce their movement speed by 30% for 4 seconds. This is nice. It's a little dot. This kind of helps me. It lasts 10 seconds. Our tornado lasts 15. So I usually, once it starts to run out, that's when I usually start to bar swap. Because that lasts for 14 seconds. That lasts for 15 seconds. Or 10 seconds. So it kind of lets me know that I'm getting ready to bar swap. So about armaments. Arm yourself with the power of Oblivion for 40 seconds, causing your light and heavy attacks to summon a bound weapon for 10 seconds, up to 4 times. You can reactivate the ability for half the cost to arm the weapons, causing them to strike your target for 3.7k physical damage every 0.3 seconds. While slaughtered, your max stamina is increased by 8%, and your light attacks deal 10% more damage. So, this ability, we only have it one bard. It's kind of like the Nightblade's bow proc. Once you get it, as you light attack, you'll see these little, I'll go ahead and show you. You'll see these little swords come up around your head. And once you have 4, you can fire them off. And it works. And as soon as you go back, it keeps doing it. Now, when that 40 seconds, when you can see the timer there above it, when it runs out though, you will have to rearm it. But you do not lose your swords in the process. Your swords will stay there. So as long as you rearm it with I think a certain amount of time, I don't know how long, but as long as you get that rearmed pretty quick, you'll keep your progress once it runs off. So Camouflaged Hunter, this is just kind of here for the second ability. While slotted, you gain Major Savagery, increasing your weapon critical rating by 2.6k. You also gain Minor Berserk for 5 seconds after you deal critical damage from an enemy's flank, increasing your damage done by 5%. Summon Unstable Clanfear, commands the power of Oblivion to send a Daedric Clanfear to fight at your side. Clanfear's headbutt deals 1.3k physical damage, and while its tail spike hits nearby enemies for 1.3k physical damage after 1 second. Once summoned, you can activate the Clanfear's special ability for 4.2 magicka, healing you for 5.3k health and the Clanfear for 2.6. The Clanfear remains until killed or unsummoned. We have this double bard because if we don't, it will fall off when we bar swap. So, and then we'd have to resummon it. So it's just easier. So this is kind of like a nice little heal. We do have other ways to heal ourselves as well, but this kind of works out for us as well. We have Flawless Dawnbreaker on our front bar. Arm yourself in Meridia's Sacred Sword and dispense her Retribution, dealing 11.1k physical damage to enemies in front of you, and an additional 15.2k physical damage over 6 seconds. After activating, your weapon damage is increased by 300 for 20 seconds. So, back bar, Endless Hell. Launch a multitude of arrows into the sky to rain down, dealing 1.2k physical damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second for 12 seconds. After a 2-second delay. This is what makes the Maelstrom Bow so strong. This ability helps with that. Either way, you're going to use Endless Hell regardless in the rotation, whether you have a Maelstrom Bow or not. But this really helps with DPS with the Maelstrom Bow. This makes it absolutely ridiculous. Crit Surge. Invoke Maria's name to gain Major Brutality and Sorcerer, increasing your weapon and spell damage by 20% for 33 seconds. While active, dealing critical damage heals you for 3.3k health. This effect can occur once every 1 second. This effect can occur once every 1 second. So we have a heal from our Clanfear if we need it, and as long as we have this going, we get heals. So Endless Hell, Hurricane here, whether it's Raining Slashes, these are all dots. As long as they crit, once they crit, we heal for 33k health. So, or 3.3k health. So it works out nicely. Hurricane, manifest yourself as pure air, buffering nearby enemies with wind, dealing 771 physical damage every 1 second for 15 seconds. The wind grows in damage and size, increasing up to 100% more damage, 150% more damage, and up to 9 meters in size. While in this form, you gain Major Resolve and Minor Expedition, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 5.9 and your movement speed by 15%. This ability does a good chunk of damage, and with that, it also makes us pretty tanky. So we have, and then Camo Hunter Rebar, same thing with Clanfear. We don't have Barb trapped on our bar due to the fact that we have Warband. That gives us minor force, so we really don't need to have Trap Bard. And then we have our Atro, Greater Storm Atro. Summon an immobile Storm Atro at the target location. Its arrival deals 6.5k shock damage and stuns enemy for 3 seconds. The Atro zaps the closest enemy, dealing 3.2k shock damage every 1 second. An ally near the Atro can activate the Charged Lightning synergy, granting the ally and the Atro Major Berserk, increasing their damage done by 10% for 8 seconds. This is the ultimate that we tend to start the fights with, and then we use this one in the middle of it. So this goes for 27 seconds, and as long as someone procs that Major Berserk, it will do a good chunk of damage as well. So, due to the fact that we have Major Savagery from Camouflaged Hunter and Major Brutality from Crit Surge, we can get away with just using trash pots. Now, if you're not using Crit Surge, you may want to look into using weapon power pots. So, it's up to you. Normally, when I'm in raid setup, or just basic stuff, I will take this off. I'll put Barb Trap right here. The only thing that changes is I use Barb Trap here, because I drop Warband and I switch to weapon power pots. But throughout most dungeons, I stick with this setup. Now, like I said, I'm not very well with the Sorcerer, so keep that in mind. This was when I was using, I used Deadly Strikes, and I used the crystal weapon, 29.6, and then using rapid strikes was 30.6. I'm pretty sure you can get more. I'm pretty bad about making sure I fire this off like I'm supposed to. Um, Sometimes with all the lightning stuff from Hurricane and stuff, I don't necessarily see the daggers over my head, and I'm not really counting my light attacks. That's on me. So, but you just got to remember as you build this up to fire it off. That's something I have issues with. So, when it comes to the rotation, of course, make sure your pet's out. You're going to activate Bound Ornaments, Surge, use your Hurricane, Endless Hell, Light Attack, Raining Slashes, Light Attack, Rapid Strikes, Light Attack, Bound Ornaments, and then you'll be able to fire off a couple more Light Attacks, about two more Rapid Strikes, Raining Slashes, Endless Hell, Hurricane, Bound Ornaments. You can go ahead and refresh Raining Strikes, or Raining Slashes if you want. So just as you see them 4 daggers, make sure you throw it off. So, what I like to do is I like to use Raining Slashes as my timer. And as that starts to get low, I will bar swap over. And I do sometimes overcast my Endless Hell and my Hurricane. Sometimes. It just depends on how the fight is going and what's going on. But most of the times, when I bar swap back to redo Hurricane, I'll use Endless Hell just to get it going again. Just so that way I can stay on my front bar as long as possible. But the rotation is really simple. You buff up. Make sure your 3 buffs are up. Endless Hell, Light Attack, Raining Slashes, Light Attack, Rapid Strikes, Light Attack, Bound Ornaments. That's it. And then you go back into Rapid Strikes. You should be able to fire off about 3 or 4 more. Reapply Raining Slashes, because Raining Slashes only last for 10 seconds. So it should, as this starts to wind down, or hold on. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself with this. Okay. So yeah. So basically you buff up, Endless Hell, Light Attack, Raining Slashes, Light Attack, Rapid Strikes, Bound Ornaments, Light Attack, Rapid Strikes, Rapid Strikes, Rapid Strikes, Rapid Strikes, Raining Slashes, Bound Ornaments, Hurricane, Endless Hell. And then, I know, it's just keep your dots up, keep everything going. That's what it's all about. So, I'll go ahead and just clear this out. Not really using it. So, and see, as you saw, the dagger stopped building because I noticed that it dropped off, but I wasn't reusing it. So that's kind of where I have problems at. But overall, it's a really simple and easy rotation. You're going to hit 30 plus K. Of course, you can get more than that if you're using dots. If you use ground poisons and things like that, you'll pull more. It'll add a good chunk to your DPS as well. But this is about as simple a rotation as I could possibly find or come up with, and it will cause you to hit 30k. Of course, if you, like I said, drop Warband for Briarheart or something like that, or even New Moon or Hundings, replace Crit Surge, or you can put Barb Trap right here on the back. You just got to keep that up. You'll use that instead. So it lasts for 18 seconds, so it doesn't necessarily kind of throw the rotation out of whack, because this is 14, this is 15, I think. Or wait, I'm looking at Barb Trap. So yeah, 14, 15, so yeah, 18. You can just overcast Barb Trap if you need to, then just rotate back. Or if you just want to keep bar swapping, that's up to you too. But yeah, that is basically the Stamp Sorcerer that I've been using. I have no problem clearing dungeons or doing anything with it if anybody needs help. Let me know what y'all run on your Sorcerer. Let me know how y'all are enjoying the new update. Until next time, take care and have fun.